An incident of a low blow by one Panthers player caused the Canberra coach to obliterate him in the press conference, calling him a weak-gutted dog. And the entire media spectacle after this has caused major shockwaves in the NRL. I think it's time to review this case on this episode of Better Call Ztank. The scene is GIO Stadium, Saturday, the 6th of August 2022. An NRL match between the Canberra Raiders and the Penrith Panthers. A game with somewhat historical significance, as both teams in the very early 90s were in an interlocking battle of trying to claim NRL premierships, with 1990 and 1991 being played between both clubs, winning one each, respectively. But there was also very recent history in terms of this fixture regarding the Penrith Panthers fanbase, who mocked the Canberra Raiders tradition of 6 years of the Viking clap at a home game at Bluebet Stadium, with a bunch of people associated with the Canberra team calling the Panthers fans out to be arrogant. Though, from my personal perspective, it's probably because they maybe got confused of which team they were supporting because they were probably on the bandwagon in 2019, but I digress. With about 20 minutes to go, the score currently sat at 20-6, a decent lead for the Panthers, but still relatively in the grasp for Canberra if they tried to come back. And that's when the starting incident occurred, involving Jaeman Salmon and Tom Starling. As Jaeman Salmon gets wrapped up in a tackle, he tries to use his legs to keep up and get the Canberra players off him, which resulted in him low blowing Tom Starling right in the his head. His other head. And also tried to kick him again relatively near the stomach area, which would result in a penalty to the Canberra Raiders and also Jaeman Salmon being placed on report. The penalty didn't result in much, as one more try would be scored in favour of Penrith, as ironically enough Jaeman Salmon would score it and seal a 26-6 win for the Panthers. A mighty effort compared to the amount of players that they currently had out. That's when we cross over into the coach's press conference, and Ricky Stuart stepped up to the plate. For some context, Ricky Stuart isn't a stranger to these certain press conference blow-ups, if you will. It would be between him and Des Hasler for the current coaches who are the most consistent in terms of blowing up in their press conferences. And then the subject of Jaeman Salmon came in, and well, I think it's best to hear it from the horse's mouth.
I know that kid very well. He was a weak-gutted dog as a kid, and he hasn't changed now. He's a weak-gutted dog person now.
Immediately after the press conference went live, a lot of journalists and fans alike were very shocked at how Ricky Stuart attacked verbally of Jaeman Salmon. Even people associated with rugby league itself were calling for Ricky Stuart to face some form of punishment.
And then when I heard what the breaking news was, my jaw hit the ground, like the desk. I couldn't believe that that's what the breaking news was, and that it was actually said. Like I know coaches can get frustrated and disappointed about the result, but to personally attack a player was, well, I said last night on Fox. I said I've been covering the game for 20 years and then played the game for almost 20 years before that. I've never heard anything like it.
Sue his ass. That's what I'd do. Jaeman Salmon was unknown until the weekend. Jaeman Salmon is not a headline player. He would not be recognised in most places walking through the street. He is now tagged. He's the bloke that Ricky Stuart called the weak-gutted dog. Like, that's so damaging to the character. And it doesn't matter whether Ricky apologised yesterday or not. It's stuck now to Jaeman Salmon.
Even Jaeman Salmon's parents had to come out onto the Matty Johns show to pretty much call out for the NRL to do something about what Ricky Stuart had said. But one thing was brought up during this quote, obviously, is the incident that happened all those years back of how Ricky Stuart is familiar with Jaeman Salmon. It turns out from this article from the ABC that there was some form of an incident between Jaeman Salmon and Ricky Stuart's one of Ricky Stuart's children when playing a game of rugby league back in 2010. And a certain scenario happened, and a confrontation happened between Ricky Stuart and Jaeman Salmon's father. And that is as much as it really goes into, but that is this incident which is referenced in the Ricky Stuart outburst. Jaeman Salmon would have been 11 in 2010. Ricky Stuart held a 12-year grudge on a child.
Something when he's a kid, when he's 12, gets brought up after an NRL game. Like, Ricky Stuart's had nothing to do with this bloke for 10 years and said he is a weak-gutted dog now.
As currently sitting on the 10th of August, the punishment has actually been given out by the NRL. And the result being that Ricky Stuart would serve a one-match ban and a $20,000 fine. He has also publicly apologised to Jaeman Salmon in a press conference. Though this seems like a relative incident of just a coach blowing up about a player in a press conference, I feel this probably might happen a little bit more because Ricky Stuart, it's happened a lot in the past of him going on about refereeing decisions and how much he doesn't like the media. Like, he hates doing these press conferences. So honestly, a week from not having to do them is anything. It's a bit of an award. But anyways, that is the end of this story. What do you guys think about this whole thing? Do you think the punishment is deserved? Do you think it was a little too lenient or was too harsh? What do you guys all make of it? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you all for watching.